What's going on, folks? It's Mr. Colion Noir, and apparently Jessica Hook did not show up for our date. No, I'm joking. So this is a live show. Sometimes what I like to do is kind of just do things off the hook. We're having some technical issues with our feed with Jessica. So what I decided to do was to go ahead and just do some comments and some questions that you guys typically have for me, especially from this last video, from the last episode of Noir. This episode meant a lot to me just because it was one episodes where I really tried to challenge myself about a lot of my stances and my views, especially from the music standpoint. It's something I've always dealt with and continue with on a personal level, just because I understand some of the effects that it can have in some of the environments that are more prone to certain types of violence. So with that being said, also in the video, I kind of talked about the problems of I tend to have with understanding the difference between trap and skeet. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I still don't know. But one of you guys made it a point to point out to me that I was shooting trap in this video, not skeet. So I'm assuming at this point I know the difference, but I don't. All right. Now, another question was, did you all just agree in the end? So in this episode, during the roundtable discussion, we did kind of come to some form of agreement. One thing that I have noticed over the progression of the show, especially with the roundtable, is after a certain points, when you kind of really start talking out specific issues and specific points and really getting down into the weeds and the details, the guards start dropping, people's defense mechanisms start going down, and people start to relax and really just kind of converse the way we would love for people tend to converse the way we would love for them to converse. With that being said, it's not always the most realistic thing, because you can't always take somebody who's anti and then have a conversation with them over the course of 8 episodes and get them to see things from your perspective. So this is a realistic conversation in that we didn't fake anything, but it's somewhat unrealistic from the standpoint that I had a longer period of time to kind of talk with Jamesh and David at the round table and kind of really get them to see the perspective of the pro-gunner. And largely, I walked away a little bit surprised too, because Jamesh is a formidable opponent from the standpoint of she'll just disagree with me on just about anything just to disagree with me on it. And she's actually really, really good at it when she wants to be. But nonetheless, I can definitely see that I've made some grounds with Jamesh, and I like to pat myself on the back a little bit for that. I'm only saying that because she's not here, because if she was, I wouldn't say it, because she would probably try to embarrass me. Let's see here. Now, I do want to talk about somebody pointed out that gross motor skill reload. And it was there were a lot of comments regarding to Corinne Mosier's situation with her rifle in the shooting challenge. And I got to say, watching it and seeing it in person was 10 times better than seeing it in video. I remember we were out there, we were at Taryn Butler's shooting facility, and we were running the course, and then I can see the magazine falling out of her rifle as she takes off running after I've handed it to her, and then my gut just sank. I was like, oh no, because usually when that happens, people panic and they're like, oh gosh, like you don't usually deal with an entire magazine falling out of your gun. But what ended up happening was I ended up watching one of the greatest displays of working through a malfunction, a mess up, screw up that I've ever seen in my life. Not from a woman, but from anybody. And she hit it hard. And I remember we were there, and Rooker from The Walking Dead was there too. And we were all just kind of standing there watching this, and everybody was just wide-eyed like, holy crap, what did we just watch? Because she damn near broke the rifle because she was trying to work her way through that malfunction. So it was incredible. It was actually really awesome. And I'm one of her biggest fans as a result of that to this day. So for all you out there who underestimate Mosier, trust me, it's not a smart thing to do. So another guy, Gala Monkey on YouTube, responding to the video in our segment with Chris Strong, where we talked about hip hop's influence on guns in the inner city. He says, I'm a white guy from the suburbs who works in the worst part of the hood. I'm in a particular neighborhood on the streets 10 hours a day from my job, and all I see is people in their 30s and under, especially that 16 to 25 age range, listening to this music. Which kind of goes to my point in the video where I talk about the kind of internal conflict I have when it comes to the music that I listen to in terms of trap music, because I understand that there are a lot of kids out there who are highly influenced by this music, who take it a lot more serious than I do, but at the same time, it's like, what do you say in that regard? Don't listen to this music. When you start talking about kids who are 16, 25, get somebody who's 25, 26 years old, at what point is it understood that you can conceptualize the idea that this is just entertainment versus reality? I don't have the answers. That conversation wasn't designed to have or to come up with an answer. Do I still listen to that music now? Yeah, I was listening to it earlier when I was in my office. But apparently I haven't been guilt-tripped or shamed enough to stop listening to it. Why? I don't know. It is definitely something that I find entertaining. It's definitely something that speaks to me in a different way that probably wouldn't make sense to a lot of people because I don't live that lifestyle. But nonetheless, from sonically, I like the music. I've always liked the music, and that's just kind of what it is. I don't make apologies for it. Am I ashamed of it? No. However, I am ashamed of some of the effects it may or may not have on a particular part of society that isn't doing or in the best condition. And what I'm basically talking about are the kids who are trapped in these inner cities where they're surrounded by violence. They don't necessarily have the opportunities that I had been afforded. I do largely think in a lot of ways, life is about working your ass off and then hopefully you get lucky. I'd never believed that this country was about guaranteeing you success. I think a lot of people forget that. It's about having the opportunity to move out of a pretty bad position, and it's going to be a lot harder for some. It's going to be a lot easier for others. But the one beautiful thing about this country is you have the ability to move out, and I don't mean that from the literal sense of the word, but you can maneuver out of different classes where in most other countries you don't have that ability. You're stuck where you're stuck. So with that being said, those are the questions that I have for you guys for the day. Thank you guys for joining me. Hopefully we'll be able to work our situation out, get Jessica Hook on the show. Love speaking with her about a number of different topics. Colion Noir, and we are out.